A couple of days ago, I dropped a video talking about how God's strength is made perfect in our weaknesses. I talked about how Paul pleaded to God 3 times to remove a thorn that was in Paul's flesh, and God's response to that. Now, this story can be found in 2 Corinthians 12:7-10. And God said to Paul, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." Now that's in verse 9. I want to talk about Paul's response today. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, reproaches, and necessities or needs, in persecutions and distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. You see, Paul, he said, I'll glory and I'll take pleasure in these infirmities. Now, this isn't saying that infirmities, necessities, and persecutions are a good thing. But when these things happen, we ought to be like Paul. We ought to rejoice and take pleasure in these infirmities because God and His grace and His power is sufficient to handle all of these things. So whatever it is that you're going through, while it may not be good, God, His grace and His power is sufficient. And while life may not be good right now, God is still good. Just because life is bad right now, just because, we may be going through sufferings, persecutions, financial troubles, whatever it is that we're going through, it never stops God from being good. So just know that when you go through these things, you're not alone in these things. You don't have to face these things on your own. That's what Paul had to learn. When he goes through these things, he doesn't have to rely on his strength, but he relied on God's strength. So trust in God, rely on His strength. And when these problems arise, just know that God is with you and that you're never alone, and that His grace and His strength is sufficient. And so, like Paul, we too can take pleasure in these things. While they may not be good, we can take pleasure knowing that we serve a good God. Hope you all have a blessed week, a blessed weekend. I pray you all have a safe weekend.